Inhale. असतोमा सद्गमय तमसोमा ज्योतिर्गमय मृत्योर्मा अमृतंगमय ओम शांति शांति शांतिः. Please repeat after me. मूकं करोति वाचालं पंगुं लंघयते गिरिं यत्कृपातमहं वन्दे परमानन्दमाधवम्. This is also another dhyana shloka which is chanted before the study or chanting of Bhagavad Gita, and these verses are attributed to Madhusudana Saraswati, who has given a tika on Bhagavad Gita. So here the verse is salutation to Lord Krishna as the teacher. So his salutations to Lord Krishna, who is the Lord of wealth, and what is his uniqueness? What does he do? He can make even the mute talk. Mukam karoti vachalam, or in Sanskrit you can also take vachalam mukam karoti. He can even make the person talking mute. So how to look at this interpretation? Vedanta, what does Vedanta, result of it ultimately is inner silence, where all words come to an end. Yatra Vedaha Aveda Bhavanti, where there is not even Vedas. Yato Vacho Nivartante Aprapya Manasa Saha. That inner silence. So he has ability, the teaching has ability to make the Vachalam Mukam. So can make even the talkative person, the chatterbox of the mind is made silent. Pangum Langayate Girim. He, the teacher, can even make the person without limbs, lame, scale up to the mountains. So that is the grace where what the symbolism has to be understood. It's not that the lame person starts walking after Bhagavad Gita. It's not that. We are all crippled in the life of samsara. We are in a way crippled all the time. We need crutches to operate, and those crutches are of different level. We depend on people as crutches. We depend on mantras as crutches. We depend on objects of the world as crutches, because we have considered ourselves to be lame, who cannot walk this path, walk the journey of life. So that is the grace of teaching. It makes one free, independent and fearless. That is the Dhyana Shloka. Talking about the Dhyana Yoga, 6th chapter. Here, Dhyana Yoga means Nididhyasanam. Not just random meditations which are in trend nowadays. So that has to be understood. Here, Nididhyasanam is given the name as Dhyana Yoga. Shravana, Manana, Nididhyasana are the sadhanas for moksha. So here dhyana means nididhyasana, which is part of the sadhana Shravana Manana Nididhyasana. And it is considered as a antaranga sadhana or sakshat sadhana, the direct means for knowledge or the internal means for the knowledge. And if there is internal, so what is the external means? The karma yoga sadhana is the external means for moksha. And you have, whenever these kind of discussions happen, you have to understand the context. Here, with reference to this context, we are telling that karma yoga is a bahiranga sadhana and dhyana yoga is a antaranga sadhana. One is, in a way, one is superior to other, or one is the direct means, one is the indirect means. Direct means being Shravana Manana Nidhyasana and karma yoga being the indirect means. And this is what, this kind of misunderstanding is there, that karma yoga cannot give you moksha, that is just preliminary step, and then nididhyasana alone can give you moksha. That's what Swamiji pointed out just when he was looking at the verses of Gita from 13th chapter, where he said people have a just set idea that this is it, this is the only path, by no other thing it is possible, because they know only tunnel vision, only one way to look at it. What that verse is telling, in that context, karma yoga is also a sadhana for moksha. You cannot say karma yoga is inferior to dhyana yoga. From that standpoint there, because ultimately everything is leading to moksha. From different standpoints we are analyzing. It's like saying, in the temple, the only way to go into the shrine, main sanctum sanctorum, is the door which is placed there. Okay? But then how will you first arrive at that door? You have to go from the entrance of the temple. So from one context you can say that the first door to the temple compound is the karma yoga, that is the bahiranga sadhana, and the sakshat sadhana is that the main door at the temple sanctum sanctorum. From standpoint, but this also led to the same goal. From another standpoint, if you want to look at it, that is the place of all sadhanas. So equal importance for all sadhanas. So that's what Gita and Shastras point out. By through karma yoga alone, Janakadayaha, many people attained liberation. So in that context, karma yoga is there. And then there is a technical aspect of Shastra where prashamsa of something is done. Praise of something, glorification of something is done. Whenever there is glorification, you have to understand that something important is here. That has to be taken. You should not hold on to it then and there. That's all. This is the only thing. Because you have to look through the entire 700 verses, not just take only one section and make conclusion. Or you make a prior conclusion having heard here and there, then go about reading the scripture or analyzing the Shastra in that way. See that it's not about books, because we analyze and live life also on that basis. Because first you have made a conclusion, and that's how you go about your life also. Because ultimately the study of book is study of one's own life. That's all. Book is just a medium. That has to be clear. So here nididhyasana is as a sakshat sadhana for moksha, antaranga sadhana, which has to be preceded by karma yoga sadhana. That is what the first verse talked about. And there are so many, the moment we say meditation, so many ideas come in the mind, because all of us at different points have learnt and practiced different meditations from different ashrams and different schools and different gurus. Once there is a spark of spirituality, we go for spiritual shopping. It's like that. Once there is a sankalpa, may I furnish my house, then you will go through all possible catalogs, all possible architects, all possible interior decorators, and then go keep picking up things from here and there. So that's what happens in spiritual life also. So there's a spark of spirituality, and we go on accumulating things from here and there. See, because the basic premise is same, nothing has transformed internally. The same, you have to get something in order to fulfill this. That is the approach in karma. And we put the same thing in spirituality also. So I go there and I find something on this shelf in this ashram, I pick it up. And I go to another ashram, then I find something and I pick it up. So the spiritual pursuit becomes just accumulation, just as any other pursuit. In fact, the reality of this pursuit is not accumulation. The reality of this pursuit is in giving up and emptying whatever we are holding on inside. That is the pursuit. It's not accumulation of this and that. So that is Nididhyasana. Nididhyasana, a place where you have emptied your mind and hearts of desires, compelling obsessions, ragadveshas, kama, krodha, everything through the sadhana of shravana and manana. And thus, this is a sadhana to just abide in your own nature. Just being. There's no doing in Nididhyasana. It is being. All other meditations that we have learnt is all doing. There is a meditator involved. And there is an object of meditation. There is a time frame for that meditation. So that triputi or the division never goes in any other forms of meditation. So Nididhyasana is a class apart. In sometimes while labeling our CDs, of course, Puja Swamiji's everything, we call them Nididhyasana as advanced meditations. We add an adjective just to differentiate. Vyavartakam Visheshanam. Visheshana adjective means Sanskrit, that which separates, which differentiates. So that needs to be known. So what is the kind of meditation usually people practice? Japa dhyana. Recitation of a mantra mentally. So that is not Nididhyasana. That is just japa dhyana. Because you are involved, you are keeping a count of that number also more often, because you have a target like any other target in the worldly pursuit. So and then we are focused about the mantra. So there is duality. There is a doer involved in it. Same with reference to concentration meditations also, where your will is involved, where you are concentrating on a particular form, particular idea, particular thing. One of the popular meditations now is the singing bowl meditation. A very beautiful meditation, really helps you concentrate. And the premise for the same thing is in the Shastras also, where Ganthanada. Gantha is installed in the ancient installations. You look at any ancient temples. Why? Because in that nada of the Gantha, you can merge your mind. You may totally concentrate. But now they are just, bells are just rung whenever and however they want. And it's not just one. There's multiple. And it's not just multiple, it's replaced by an electronic system which makes like an orchestra. Dun, dun, dun. We have also, I think. So it's by that. So where is the concentration? There is whatever traditional forms also where we could have really used it as a form of meditation. We ourselves have destroyed the very essence in those forms, and they become dead concepts or dead things lying around wherever they are. And mindfulness meditations, that is the another very popular, very powerful meditations, and then popularized by Buddhist traditions. Very useful meditations for all the Vedanta people. One must have those meditations as part of one's sadhana, but yet it is not really Nididhyasana, because you are totally aware of the present moment. Of course, that can, really speaking, if you use a Vedantic wisdom there, it is very easy to merge into Nididhyasanam from mindfulness practices, where the concentration is to be in the utter present moment. So whatever you are doing, may your concentration completely be in that. I am totally aware. The initial practices are, I tell myself in the mind that I am lifting this lid. I am placing it like this. I am taking it. I am totally aware of it. I am sipping. So mind which is usually not present in the activity that we are doing, you bring the mind to that present moment, thus freeing it from the holds of past and the future. But then again there is total concentration involved in the present moment. But Nididhyasana is even moving beyond concentration on any particulars. So there are no particulars, no Visheshana. Sarva Visheshana Hanataha. That in the last camp of Upadesha Sahasri, Swamiji stressed a lot on this expression, Sarva Visheshana Hanataha. That in Nididhyasana we put an end to all adjectives. Always the isness, the existence is covered up by adjectives. Pot is. What really is the existence, satta. But we have superimposed or given an adjective called pot to the existence. Thus we are not able to perceive existence first. We are perceiving pot. We never focus our mind on the existence, the principle of existence which pervades everything. It is the framework on which everything is coming and going. It is the principle on which even time, everything is superimposed. But we are unaware of it. So that's how in the present moment in mindfulness practices, if you use the Vedantic wisdom, it is very easy to merge into Nididhyasanam. The starting point would be mindfulness, but you very easily go into Nididhyasana. That can be done. So this is the Nididhyasana we are talking about. And not even Samadhi, not even the Yoga Samadhi. It is not even Yoga Samadhi, which is Chitta Vritti Nirodha, where there is, with effort, you have controlled all the thoughts. And with some kind of practices, for a duration of time, you are free from thoughts in your mind. That's the yogic practice. And our friends say, hey Swami, why are you struggling so much? This is what my friends used to say in the college days when I started totally going to ashrams and everything. They used to say, why are you struggling so much? Have you really tasted this stuff? Have you done this? We have access to these drugs. You're in Bangalore. So it just frees your mind. There are no thoughts. I perceive unity. There is a unity in my experience induced by this drug. It's not even that. Because it's a big school. This seems like a funny thing, but in West, some people pursued meditation, drug-induced meditations also. But again, there is another factor. There is an induced effect. Whatever is the experience because of the drug, it's induced, it's not independent. There is always dependency, and that's a fleeting experience, starts and ends in time. So we are not even talking about that. Not yogic samadhi, nor other psychedelic samadhis. Not even that. Puja Swamiji used to tell a nice story about the limitations of yogic samadhi. You know, an ignorant fellow, by a practice, goes into samadhi and comes out. So this guru is very interested in going to samadhi. So he told Shishya, hey, you bring 1 cup of coffee. Then he went into samadhi. By the time Shishya brought the coffee, this guru went into samadhi. And he was in samadhi, then he came out of the samadhi, and then Shishya was walking, and then by then Shishya has consumed the coffee. And he sees the Shishya, hey, where is my coffee? He gets angry. What was the last thought? Coffee. After samadhi, what is the first thought? Coffee. So you have just shut down the mind for a period of time. Nothing, you are the same old fool. If a donkey goes on a pilgrimage, it doesn't come back as a horse. So if a donkey goes into samadhi, it doesn't come back as a horse even. So that is the limitation of pilgrimage also and samadhi also. So we are not talking about that also. This is Nididhyasana, being aware of your presence the existence, consciousness and bliss without the support of anything. Just being as you are and awarefully just being. And in that moment there is, just an expression, don't bring time there. So in that there is absolute peace, there is ananda. So that is nididhyasanam. Starting of the practice, we go for guided nididhyasanam. That is what Swamiji does that in the classes, in the meditation classes. It is guided nididhyasana initially because we need that guidance initially. But the progress should be to a point where you don't require a guided meditation really to be in nididhyasana. Nididhyasana is jnanam. Really speaking, the outcome of nididhyasana or nididhyasana is just jnanam. You are totally aware of your real nature. As you even open your eyes, you are aware of your awareful presence. Having closed your eyes, you are aware of your presence. That is nididhyasana. In order to reach that point, nididhyasana becomes a sadhana. Guided meditations and taking cues from the Shastra or the words of wise men and women, one can practice nididhyasanam. That is how one goes about nididhyasanam. That is what we are talking about. So the assumption is that a person has done some amount of shravana and manana, that one has listened to the vision of life, vision of Shastra, which is no different from vision of life, from a competent teacher for a length of time. And it should just not end there, and one should also reflect upon the same thing, the manana, taking cues from the quotations or books, writings and talks of wise people. That's how one goes about manana. That is one thing. And in Amrita Bindu Upanishad, beautiful verse is there, mana eva manushyanam bandha mokshayoho karanam. It is mind alone which is responsible for one's bondage and one's liberation. Atma is Sachidananda Swarupa, Shuddha Buddha Nitya Mukta Swarupa. It is ever free, but then it is only in the mind, by the ignorance in the mind, one makes a conclusion that everything opposite conclusion. I am Ashuddha, I am Alpagnya, I am bound. It is only in the mind. These conclusions are only in the mind, and my real Swarupa is untouched by all of it. So nididhyasana is handling that mind which is responsible for bondage in the first place. So what is responsible for bondage, we handle it and make the very mind as an instrument responsible for one's liberation. So that's why handling of one's mind is very important. And Bhagavad Gita, it is not there, my orientation. Bhagavad Gita, you all have seen that picture of Bhagavad Gita, front cover, the scene where the chariot, Krishna, Arjuna are all standing. So there is a beautiful symbolism behind it, and that gives you a whole idea to how to go about one's pursuit, to how to handle one's mind. And the symbolism to explain, we can take the help of Kathopanishad, the mantra in 1.3, Atmanam Rathinam Viddhi, Shariram Rathamevatu, Buddhim tu Sarathim Viddhi, Manaha Pragraha Evacha, Indriyani Hayanahuhu, Vishayams Teshu Gocharan. What is the Indriyani Hayanahuhu Vishayans Teshu Gocharan Atmendriya Mano Yuktam Bhoktirahur Manishinaha. That is the verse there which talk about the total symbolism associated with that chariot. So here the body is compared to that chariot, and the horses represent the Indriyas, and the reins with which the sense organs called horses are tied is the mind. And who holds that mind? Intellect. That is the charioteer. Shri Krishna is the charioteer. So, a enlightened buddhi, a buddhi which has discrimination. That is the buddhi, if it holds the reins and to which the sense organs are tied, this chariot called body will move very easily in the whole world. Otherwise, wherever these horses take you, you will just be going around, just going round and round, round. That's all. The whole journey will be cyclic. Punarapi jananam, punarapi maranam, if you want to take karma model, or pain, pleasure, pain, pleasure, pain, pleasure, pain, pleasure. That's how one's life is going to be. So, this mind called reins has to be held by the intellect, viveka. And that's how to go about the pursuit. Very simple. So then you lead this body wherever it is required to go for just its sustenance. That is where we have to move. That's how it has to go. And see, in the whole pursuit, certain familiarity comes. And because of that familiarity, mind as though shuts down. It is a very big obstacle to the whole pursuit, because in the camps after camps, classes after classes, first year after second year in the course, you have a sense that, okay, I know it, this is how, this I understand, this and it's not that. One of my friends, she's a PhD from Stanford, and Dr. Megha, and she advised me to listen to lectures of Professor Robert Sapolsky, who is a behavioral biologist who studies behavioral biology in Stanford. So he just has made a very unique observation, and I thought, when I was thinking yesterday, why, in fact, after n number of camps, n number of classes, why people just don't get this clarity? Why don't they get this clarity? It's because he very beautifully analyzes, because Vedanta is not this kind of movement in time, block after block, step after step, because that's the approach we have everywhere in the world, and that's how we try to go about. And then he advises, and I read some of this work called Chaos, a book called Chaos by James Cleric or something. I can't pronounce the German names well. Is it German name? James Gleick, Gleick. Okay, whatever. That is the author. So in that, because we all have this compartmentalized thinking, in Vedanta also we bring the same. Whatever words are coming in the class, we keep on putting into these pigeonholes or in the categories. Categorical thinking. Atma is beyond any category. Sarva Visheshana Hanataha. No Visheshana there. But yet, this mind which is trained in categorical thinking, we try to pursue Atma in the same thinking. That's why it just never happens. So he makes an observation in that book Chaos. Our approach to and I have taken that ideas to present to you how not to go about the pursuit of Vedanta. We try to understand everything in reductionism. Like we separate the parts and we understand each part and we put all the parts together. Thus we have a feeling that we have understood the whole thing. It can be, he compares it to the working of a watch, repairing and assembling a watch. So many parts in it, we first reduce it into different parts, then we try to assemble. That's how we try to go in Vedanta also. Tattva Bodha, first we learn this definition of Atma. Then we pick up some concept called Sadhana Chatushtaya. Then we pick up a concept called Jagat Karanam Brahma. Then we pick up a concept Satyam Mithya. Then we pick up another concept and try to put it all together. Vedanta doesn't work like that. So if you want to go beyond categorical thinking, This kind of understanding in Vedanta doesn't work at all. There should be leaps in your understanding. It cannot go step by step like that. So it is like, this understanding is like understanding the space. It is not like understanding the watch. Categorical thinking is understanding in the watch. You divide into parts and then you assemble and understand. So if you want to break that categorical thinking, you have to move to another zone of understanding, which is a higher understanding, like that you understand space. See how similarity, Atma, the only example which can be given to Atma is Vyoma or space. And you cannot divide space and understand. People all the time try to do that in Vedanta for Atma. That's why it is never possible. Part by part. Part by part. Now I understood this part. I understand Shravanam. Okay. Now I know Sadhana Chatushtaya. Now I know some Vyakarana Sutras. Now I will put everything together after the end of the course. No, doesn't work. Like how you understand space, you have to break from the categorical thinking. All the other concepts don't are of no use for you to understand that. So that must be the way to understand Atma. Only one example to understand the Atma, closest example is Akasha, and closest example to understand Ananda is that of deep sleep. Ananda, how to understand Ananda? That which is present in the deep sleep. Define the Ananda in the deep sleep. Try. Define it. All words fail. Yatho vacho nivartante aprapya manasa saha. Define it. But define the Ananda in the ice cream or gulab jamun. You can describe. So, what we say where this category, this is not even a category, beyond all categories, how it is not available for any definitions or categories, this is the way to go about understanding Atma. If you are all the time stuck in categories, it will never help. That's the limitation of language. That's why the language employed in Vedanta is also different. It's not the regular language, the language of negation. And why this whole thought process started in me yesterday was because when I used the word Vardanti yesterday, many people, whatever they knew the meaning of it, they associated the word with it. Thus, they could not understand what I am conveying, because I was telling that birthday is celebrated as Vardanti in South. I said in Karnataka the Mathadishas use the word Vardanti for birthday. But then somebody told me in Andhra and Tamil Nadu etc. Vardanti is used as death day or whatever. But your categorical thinking, you know the meaning of one word, only that. Even though it is pointed out, birthday in Sanskrit is Vardanti, that didn't go inside many people's heads, because already a preconditioned box was present. That is what happens in Vedanta. You think all words are familiar. So even though a great maverick like teacher in the first class is trying to shatter that categorical thinking, nothing goes on, because we are looking for categories even in that talk. That has to be done away with in Vedanta. Otherwise it will always be like a treadmill, All the time we are on the treadmill. One lap after another. We have programmed it. First lap is Mundakopanishad. Second lap is Bhagavad Gita, second chapter. Third lap is something else. Fourth lap is that. But really speaking, you are wherever you are. You have not proceeded any further. That's what happens in Vedanta. That one has to do away with it. And again, we have to use the words to convey the truth. Otherwise, of course, the mode of silence is the best form of communication. But then, just to use some words again, it is said, okay, Uttama Adhikaris, who they come to the Guru and just gain the knowledge in silence. But then there are words of Upanishads also, which are talking about the blessed reality. So how to go about understanding this? Because we are using the very same words, linguistics available, but then in Vedanta, if you really observe, whenever we are talking Atma, never in positive terms we are using the words. It is always negative. Why? Because if words are positive definitions are used, you get a feeling that it is a thing. It is a concept to be understood. So we are breaking the very concepts by using the prakriya of neti neti. Not this, not this. That whatever definitions of Atma given is in negative. You see, you observe this thing. And even sentences like Satyam, Jnanam, Anantam, Brahma, a person may have a feeling that Atma is positively being described, but if you look at the Bhashya, because Satyam, Atma is Satyam, if we say that, just as a statement, what is the understanding which goes into one's mind? One feels that, okay, Atma is the truth, but there is another category for false in your mind. So that is not what Atma is as opposed to false. So the very word meaning is stripped out of that word, and what remains is conveyed. That needs to be understood. That is the way to go about. Even though words are being used, we should not create a conceptual universe in our heads with words. One of the leading cognitive scientists, who is also a linguist, Lira Brodsky, says just through language we create a world in our heads. There are 7,000 odd languages in the world, and there are 7,000 odd universes in different heads. Vacharambano vikaro namadheyam rittiketteva satyam. It's all words. We have to move beyond that. Otherwise we have created a conceptual universe. That's why it is very essential to go by right language also in Vedanta. Then only you will be oriented. Words, thoughts, actions, everything will fall in line if you start correcting your words, correcting your expressions to go along with your understanding. That's why Mahatmas never use the word I, mine, my body, my class, my students, my ashram, this, that, because orientation will be very strong. Then that cognitive scientist points out in certain in Australian tribal culture, they don't use the words left and right to point out directions. They use north, south, west as direction itself. Suppose they want to say something is on their right, they use the word northwest or whatever is the direction. So they are always oriented totally to the direction. Suppose if somebody asks us which is the west, we cannot point out sitting here, because that idea itself is not formed in the mind. There is no orientation. That's why if we stop using all the words which again fuel ego, then that ego very well disappears, and there whatever shines, whatever that orientation of shining is there. That's how we have to go by the words also. I wanted to mention it because yesterday's that small experience was very revealing for me. Why? There is always a block in communication from a teacher to student, because already we are trying to see in a preconditioned mind everything which is happening in the class. Thus, the teaching never proceeds. So, with that background, let us dive into the mantra. Shri Bhagavan Uvacha Anashritah Karma Phalam Karyam Karma Karoti Yaha Sasanyasi Cha Yogi Cha Na Niragnir Na Chakriyaha. Even though Dhyana Yoga starts with praise of karma yogi or a life of grihasthashrama. And Krishna points out that real sannyasa is giving up of desire for fruit of actions. That person alone is a sannyasi, not a person who has just given up rituals and who is in a particular kind of robe. That is what Shri Krishna has pointed out, and it has to be understood that karma yoga is the basis for dhyana yoga. For nididhyasana, one must have led a life of karma yoga and should be leading a life of karma yoga even. That is what Upanishad is pointing out. And in Bhashya, I will, wherever possible, I will also take the ideas from Shankara Bhashya and try to give you. Shankaracharya just imagines and presents an objection. This must not be correct. A sannyasi is the one who has given up the rituals and who is leading a kriya, a lifestyle where he is not involved in action. How can you say that a grihastha is a sannyasi who is involved in action, who is doing actions with the karma yoga buddhi? It is to be understood that it is in praise of grihasthashrama. That what is being pointed out is the grihastha or a karma yogi, because he is following this lifestyle where he is not interested in karma phala at all, thus he is figuratively in secondary sense called as sannyasi. In the secondary sense, just to stress what is real sannyasa. Thus in spirit he is also sannyasi, but not in lifestyle. In spirit, a person, if he grihastha is able to live a life where one is not interested at all in the fruit of action, one can be called a sannyasi in spirit. That is what that is how this verse needs to be understood. And furthermore, how this is used in the secondary sense is being spoken even in the second verse. Yam sanyasamiti prahuhu yogam tam vidhi pandava nahi nahyasanyasta sankalpo yogi bhavati kaschana. Now, Shri Krishna is again equating the renunciation, sannyasa, with karma yoga. What is called as sannyasa, may you understand it to be karma yoga. Yam sanyasamiti prahuhu. What is being told as sannyasa by Vedas, by Shastras, may you understand that alone to be karma yoga. Figuratively, the spirit of sannyasa is being equated with karma yoga. How to understand this? You can give the example. This young girl is a lioness. When you make such a statement, what is that girl is a girl and lioness is a lioness. The quality present in this girl and the quality of bravery and valor and strength present in the lioness, those are equated. So here also it has to be understood, not to be confused. Ashrama wise, grihastha and sannyasa are separate. But if a grihastha is able to live a life with the spirit of renunciation towards the fruit of action, he is called as sannyasi in this context. So, O Pandava, Arjuna, what is called as sannyasa, sannyasam iti, prahuhu, by the Shastras, may you understand that to be yoga alone. And one who has not given up sankalpa, he cannot be called as a yogi. So in double negative, Krishna is being spoken about. What it means to say is that sankalpa tyaga alone makes you a yogi or a sannyasi, not just any other thing. One who has not given up desires nahi asanyasta sankalpaha. One who has not given up the sankalpa, he cannot be called as karma yogi. He does not become a karma yogi, thus he doesn't become a jnana yogi or sannyasi also. That is to be understood in this verse. So the importance of karma yoga, what is the real spirit of sannyasa, is spoken in this verse. The next verse, the idea is same. Arurukshor munir yogam karma karana muchyate yoga rudhasya tasyaiva shamah karana muchyate. If now Krishna is telling, if somebody desires to go on top of this flight of staircase where the ultimate end is moksha, if one wants to climb up the tree called yoga, called jnana yoga, what is the stepping stone for it? Karma. Karma means karma karana muchyate, means don't take it as just actions. What is indicated is karma yoga. Arurukshor munir yogam. If somebody desires to climb up the tree called yoga, what is the stepping stone for it? Is the karma yoga. And having led a life of karma yoga, then what becomes the means for climbing up the tree called yoga is sannyasa. Karma, we all started our life with just actions based on ragadvesha, desires. Then with the samskara of shastra and acharya, we moved to a lifestyle of karma yoga, where we are performing action without desire for the fruit of the action. Then you can also move up in the lifestyle where you can also give up the actions itself. Why? Because anyways you are not performing actions for any end. Thus, with that logic, a stage may come where you can renounce the action also. So the sannyasa ashrama as ashrama is being pointed out here. So, because in the initial two verses, sannyasa was equated, the lifestyle of sannyasa was put aside, and the spirit of sannyasa was equated to a grihastha or grihastha lifestyle. Now Krishna is moving again, placing the lifestyles in order, that having led a life of karma yoga, one can take to a life of sannyasa in order to climb up this tree called yoga. Sannyasa is prescribed. Lifestyle of sannyasa. This has to be understood because lifestyle of sannyasa is also valid in this culture, with the cultural background. But really speaking, as I was saying, it is universal as well. It is not just lifestyle present here. In spirit, the same lifestyle is present in every culture. Swami Chinmayananji used to say, if Einstein had not taken sannyasa from regular life, he could have never discovered the truth. So ultimately, in order to climb up the